I'm back. So I just wanted to come here and introduce you to a former BC alum. We actually met through Campus Success, and I'm so excited because we have a lot in common. She is an amazing mother of two gorgeous children, and she is the author of the She Is Me Too blog. So I'm excited to bring you on Ashley Montalvo. Hey, what's going
Hi,
on?
how are
It's
you?
been a while.
I know.
How have you been? Sorry,
Good.
just trying to get comfortable. So, evening for you. Kids are asleep, and you
My
get some free
daughter,
time to hang out with me.
my daughter's on the computer in the other room. My
Oh,
son's
cool.
asleep.
Very cool. Very cool. So we actually met through Campus Success, and you were going through the course, and I happened to be going through it a second time just to, refresher for me. And it was so uncanny because we found out that we actually went to the same college. You went to
Yeah,
Bridgewater just like I did, just a couple of years after I did.
so crazy.
Um, And we started talking that way, and it was really cool to, hey, that's Roger right there. Thank you, Roger, for
Oh, hey,
jumping on here. um, I like your story. You've started a blog. You've been able to write about the things that you've naturally been going through, but then you also shout out other people that you have met along the way that
Mhm.
you identify with as well. And I was hoping you'd let me know why you chose to go that way. Why did you choose to tell your story that way?
Um, well, the premise of She Is Me Too is really just showing women, trying to change the conversation. It's stereotypical for women to be catty and talk about each other, and
Yep.
I don't know that we're
Always be in competition.
exactly. And I don't know that we're going to achieve perfection in that, but it's really about an awareness of, if I really listen and I try to hear about this woman and learn about her, maybe I can relate to her in some way. So it's really about giving each other a chance to just share and realize that we're a lot more alike than we think. And so,
Yes.
I started with my own stories, and I really wanted to, because I had known a lot of women, just the coworkers that I was working with in Virginia, stories that we would share with each other, and I'm like,
Yes.
wow, like we're all going through stuff.
Pretty much the same. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like in some way or another we can relate, and I really wanted to help other women to not be embarrassed of the stuff that they're going through. Because chances are there's somebody out there that's going through the same thing, and they need to hear it from you so they can feel brave enough to share too, and
Yes.
not feel so guilty and ashamed. So yeah.
I love that you're trying to spread the love that way, and I appreciate the fact that you're even willing to be as candid as you are about your life and the things that you're going through, your mom journey, being there for the kids, and it's just, it makes me feel better knowing that there are people like you out there, because what we do need to do is share about the things that are similar between all of us instead of the things that make us different. And I think that's the major shift at the moment for a lot of people our age, I think.
Yeah. I had actually a coworker the other day said, I don't want you to take this offensively or anything, but sometimes I say to myself, if Ashley can do it, I can do it. And she's like, and
Why
that's
would that
being
be offensive?
crazy. I know, right? Um, so I was like, oh, well, thank you. And I think it's funny that I'm like even a thought in her mind when she's going through something rough.
But that means you're making a difference, and that's like those are the little things that we look forward to. Like, I'm just going to do this because I want to do it. Like my blog, or what was my blog, now is my podcast. I'm doing to kind of chronicle what I'm going through. And if I get a comment, it's a shock to me because I don't do it because I think people are listening. I just do it for myself. But it makes that much of a difference. It's like reiterating the fact that, hey, you are making a difference. Keep going. It's like,
Right.
keep doing what you're doing. You're doing the right thing. You're on the right path and all of that. And I really, it's helpful to me. So I think it's funny that she phrased it that way, but that was kind of cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
So since then, I mean, you're not originally from Virginia, though, right? You
No.
moved to Virginia.
I,
Okay.
I'm from upstate New York, where I am right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, Went all through high school, and then after I went to Virginia, Bridgewater College, and then, like I came home for a summer, and then I
Hmm.
moved out like an hour away from Bridgewater.
Okay.
I lived there for 5 years, And then I had my 2 kids, so I was like, I think it's time to go back home, be around family, my close
Right.
friends. So
Definitely. So I'm curious, what was that like to go from New York to Virginia? And it wasn't just like Virginia metropolitan, it was fuck Virginia.
it was quite the culture shock.
Harrisonburg.
Yeah, well, that and Bridgewater, like the college
Yep.
is literally the town, like that's it.
That's
Um,
it. It's a one horse town.
yeah, and you literally got the horse and buggy go down Dixie
Yes, we
Ave.
have Mennonite culture. For those of you who don't know, we have Mennonite culture right outside college, basically. So we do see that. It's not, it's not uncommon to see it often.
Yeah, the chicken truck that would pass by every
Chicken
day.
trucks. Yep. You definitely know you've gotten off at 81 when you hit that smell. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was different, and definitely because that school at the time, there were Black people were definitely the minority, and so it was different. But I did love the hospitality. That is one thing, that
Yeah.
Southern hospitality is so real in that part of Virginia. I never really felt like an outsider. I developed friends who were like family right off the bat.
Yeah.
And so I really liked that about that. And it was different because, I had a friend who visited me from Philadelphia, and
Okay.
why is everybody so nice?
What do they want?
I don't know. Like somebody told him that he liked his hat, like a stranger, and he was just like,
Yeah.
"Thank
But yeah,
you."
that's just the way it is. You don't expect
Like,
that, I guess.
okay.
Because I do that here in Singapore, and people are like, "Are you talking to me?" Like, yes, we're talking.
Yeah, it's okay
Just
to
say
be
thank you.
nice.
Keep it moving. It's okay.
Right. So yeah, it was different for sure.
And then education-wise, I mean, not many people realize, but that's a liberal arts college. It's not known for any one big thing, but it's a little bit of everything. And I actually I enjoyed that experience because I got to test a lot of things. I got to try a lot of different things. It's part of the curriculum. So how did you feel about that? Did that help as well?
It did, because I came from, like, I wasn't gonna go to school, and I swore I was just like not gonna go to college. I was kind of plummeting my senior year, and
Oh,
I was a little pressured by my parents and principals to apply for colleges. So
yeah.
it was a shocker that I even went, but so I didn't
Nice.
know what I wanted to do, and I actually started at Bridgewater as a communications major.
Okay.
And but then we had to take certain gen eds, and
Yeah.
we had to do the social sciences. I was like, okay. I went to psychology, and my first general psych class, I was like, I love this.
Yes.
And so I switched my major to that, and I loved it. But being able to explore that and get just so many different types of learning, and to figure that out was awesome. I loved that school for that, for sure.
I kind of wish that a lot of university experience included that, at least in the first year, because I mean, you have your idea of what you want to do in high school. And a lot of times it's sports, or it's like a specific class that you really enjoy because of the teacher. But when you get to the college level, it's a little bit different. So I wish more people had the chance to try a lot of different things, and it's necessary. You have to go through all of these things, and then you kind of find, where you fit best. So I'm glad you did that way. I started off as a bio major and decided I really hate chemistry, and I'm really not good at it, and I could care less about I mean, I love plants, but I'm not good at botany at all. And what I really wanted to know is why people did what they did. So yes, that's where I fell into psych, and I really loved it. I really enjoyed learning the why and the where it comes from for people's behavior in general. So that really helped me. So from after college, I know you said you moved right outside of Bridgewater and stayed there for about 5 years. What was that experience like?
Well, it was a bit of an impulsive decision. I had
Those are
a
the best ones.
I had a 5-month-old baby girl, and I just kind of on a whim, I didn't even tell my parents. I found an apartment, I found a job, like all on my own. I went to Virginia with $200 to my name with a baby. And when I was there, I moved because I was dating someone who was still going to Bridgewater.
Okay, all right.
And that lasted for another year. And I
Okay.
thought, okay, well, I'm done here. But I ended up staying for 4 more years. So
Okay.
it was all for a reason. And I ended up getting really involved in my church out there, and
Okay.
I did really well in my job, and all my coworkers were like family to me. I mean, to this day, I visit them. It's like a second home for me. Like, we have to go there
Nice.
everywhere. So yeah, that's
But that's
it.
cool though. I feel like from everything I've spoken to you about, over I think we've known each other, what, maybe a little bit over a year. But everything we've talked about, I know that your faith is a very integral part of who you are. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that you said that, even though you, on a whim, moved out or whatever, you found, a church community that you were able to kind of get involved with. And I feel like that's kind of how it goes sometimes. When you don't have a plan is when everything kind of comes together.
Yeah, no, it was a really big part of just me getting back on track, because I really feel like if I would have stayed in my hometown back then,
Mhm.
I would have been in a very different place right now, and probably not for the best.
Okay.
Um, and because I don't like to be that person who says, who blames my environment.
Right.
I just know who I was, and the what I was doing. I just needed the separation, for that time. And so when I went out there, I had this girl who was my backup babysitter,
Yeah.
and she invited me to church, and I was like, okay. So I would go, but I was still, it was very sporadic, and
Hmm.
I just wasn't all there. And then just this lady was, during worship, she heard me singing, and so
Okay.
she told the worship leader, she was like, "You got to get this girl. She's got to sing." And
Yes.
so they wanted me on the worship team, and I was like, "Oh man, that means I have to come every Sunday."
Oh, but see, those gifts are there for a reason, and I've
Yeah,
heard you sing. Yeah.
yeah, it was really good, because I mean, it forced me in that sense, because I wasn't there yet, and I was
Yeah.
just like spiritually not in a good place. But so that kind of brought me there every Sunday. And then little by little, I was going every Sunday, every Wednesday, just like being really involved. And it coming from, going through a really hard breakup after that year,
Yeah.
it was just exactly what I needed to heal and to be around those people. So it was great.
Very good. So from there, when did you decide that you wanted to be a blogger? How did you decide you were going to write about all of these things?
Well, I've always loved writing. I
Yeah.
used to, well, I still do, but not as often as I'd like to. I wrote poetry a lot. I've been writing
Okay.
poetry since I was in sixth grade.
Hmm.
So that was really what I would do kind of as an outlet. But I went to a conference called Women of Faith with
Okay.
one of my coworkers. And her and I became really close, and she invited me, and her family actually paid for me to go and everything. So we went, and it was just a really great night of really inspirational women giving their testimonies and things that they were doing. And there was one woman who was talking about writing a book. And
Okay.
although this was not long ago, it's about 3.5 years ago, maybe,
Hmm.
um, it's amazing how much it's the industry has changed. And because back then it was like the first time me hearing about certain not about writing a book, obviously people
Oh, okay.
but just like um that I could do it too. Like I would have
Right.
never,
Okay. Okay. I
you know what
got
I
you.
mean? Like I would have never had that idea. I'm just thinking like that's
Yes.
something celebrities do, or I don't know. So they're
Yeah.
talking about it, and I'm like, it's giving me these ideas, thinking like maybe I could write a book one day. But but still, because I had that mentality of like this isn't something I could do, I was thinking, well, let me think of a different way to kind of put my writing out there.
Okay.
And so I kind of, after that, I was, on fire, like really inspired. And so I
Yes.
went online and I started just looking for ways to do that. And I just kept seeing blogging, which back then I probably read a blog, but I didn't know I don't know, I was just clueless,
It
really.
didn't connect.
No,
I got you.
yeah. So I looked it up, and I was like, how do you start a blog? Just basic Google search.
Yeah.
And then I went from there, and yeah, I just started kind of sharing. I made a big mistake when I started though. I
Why?
Because I didn't have a plan. Like I was just so excited about it
Right.
that I put like all of my like best content out in like a week, you know? And it was
Okay.
amazing. It was really
Yeah.
good. But then I was just like, oh man, like what do I write about now? You know? So it took
Okay,
a
okay, I
little
got you.
while
I
to get
understand now.
that momentum again.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, it was pretty cool. And then I got the idea to, kind of help other women share their stories, and I just went from there, just kept writing.
It's been history since. But that's it's very big of you to admit that you think that was a mistake, but I kind of feel like you did what most people don't. No, hear me out, because most people would think about it and think about it and think about it and then
Mm.
plan and then think about it some more and then never do. But you let that excitement take you and you did first. And then you realize, okay, well, I need to find a way to kind of spread this out a little bit. And
Yeah.
then you're still doing it. I kind of feel like if you had planned it, it may not have turned out the same way. So
Right.
I kind of feel like people need to stop thinking so much and just go ahead, make the mistake if you think it's a mistake. But I
Right,
feel
right.
like it was where you needed to start the doing work. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It happened for a reason, for sure.
I like that though, because like I said, telling our story is not always easy. There are some things we'd rather not ever say out loud. There
Yeah.
are some things we'd rather pretend like never happened. But the fact that you're even showcasing other people, including your own story, bits and pieces as life happens, that's courage. That's courage under fire every day, because you show up every time you write. You have to really put your heart into it. It's not that Christy Fox says everything happens for a reason. Yes, absolutely, I believe that. I feel like we keep so much of ourselves hidden because we don't know what the world will think. But the more we share, the more we show that everybody's kind of on the same wavelength. We're kind of headed the same direction. It's just our paths take us different ways or whatever. That helps people come together. And the fact that I feel like you're building a community through your blog, basically. Like your views, your experiences, other people's experiences that are similar, and you're building this community. So hats off to you. I'm impressed. I've always been impressed with you.
Thank you. Yeah, I had the tagline of my blog was the unashamed truth. And
Yes.
that was really important for me because I wanted to share these experiences, and there were things that I was like battling with myself with, because I'm like, I don't know that I want people to know this about me, or
Right.
that I went through this. And I was like, no, this is what somebody needs. It's like the ugly truth. But
Yeah.
there are so many people who struggle with their mental wellness,
Yes.
and serious things happen because they just keep themselves in the dark, because they're like, nobody would understand, and so and I've been through a lot, like,
I
and
know.
so, and I'm sure that people have been through darker things than I have, but to some level there's kind of that underlying, like, we're all going through something, so we can relate
Yeah.
at that level.
But what you said was true too. Like, there are some parts of yourself that you like to keep hidden. You feel like no one would understand, and that's what actually keeps us all apart. And the fact that you're writing a blog to showcase everybody, it pulls everyone back together. It shows us, like you were saying, women tend to be in competition with each other, and there's no need to be, because I don't look like you, you don't look like me. There's no way to compare us. There's really no, I mean, I have a nose and you do too, but there's no other,
Yeah.
outside of the bare bones of it, there's really no way to compare each other. So, I like the idea of people who are trying really hard to show the rest of the world that you don't have to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be ashamed of who you are. You don't have to keep all of this to yourself. You don't have to go through it by yourself.
Right.
And yes, it takes a level of courage to put it out there, but the feedback, I'm sure, helps you, heal yourself in a way, and see yourself in a different light, because what I think is ugly about me, somebody might think is great and is inspiring to them. So honestly, there are a lot of people who are doing this, but not as many who are willing to share the stage, and not as many who are willing to have other people showcase on their own blog and show the similarities that way. And I think that's great of you.
Thank you. There was one time I put a Facebook post up that said, I figured out what I want to do, what I want to be when I grow up. And I said either Ellen or Oprah. More so Ellen, because she's funny and she dances.
Yes.
But because I really, like, I have, I don't know if you've heard of like the love languages.
Yes.
Okay, so, well, my love language, the one I like to receive is quality time, but
Okay.
I'm I'm a gift giver,
Okay.
and I like I like to give to other people, but also I said that I would love to just find people in the world who are talented and in so many different ways, and just show everybody like, look at this person, they're amazing,
Yes.
you know. So that's why I really, you know, and I think, goodness, how many girls have I, it hasn't been very many. I think maybe 4 or 5 interviews I've done.
Okay.
Um, but it's it's just been like things I've known some of these women for a very long time, and I would have never guessed. You know, I'm hearing the stuff for the first time when I'm interviewing them, because like what I would do is I would just either, if they're away, we would do it via like Facebook Messenger or something like that. But if
Sure.
I
Yeah.
spoke to them, I would like, we would go get coffee and I would just ask them questions, and you know,
Sure.
um, and then write about it later. But I'm like, wow, like it's amazing. And then even in the writing process of like writing about myself, I would
Hmm.
learn I would learn more about myself and what I went through as I was writing it, you know.
Yeah,
So
because you have to think
all
about how you
very
put it
eye-opening.
down, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So something that we connected on, because I've been through it as well. I've been in situations where it's been difficult for me and I didn't know who to turn to. And it's like the kindness of strangers and being able to find people, or maybe not find people, but come across people who are willing to lend you a hand, whether they know you or not. And
Yeah.
most likely because they want nothing else but to help.
Yep.
And that's been like something that we bonded over, because I know that there were several times in my life that I'm not particularly proud of, but I'm grateful because people just happened to cross my path and were like the hand of God to me. They were able to really help me see past myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like your blog does that on a level. It shows people that it's okay to stand up. It's okay to speak out. It's okay to write. It's okay to tell your story. A lot of us are a lot more comfortable. You said, you know, when you sit down with somebody and you ask them questions, it's a lot more comfortable to do it one-on-one, in,
Yeah.
you know, on a personal level. But when we do it live like this, I like the fact that people can join in from wherever, even if there is a 24-hour replay.
Mm-hmm.
And they get whatever they need from it. We are strangers to them. We have no idea what they're going through, but they hear what they need to hear.
Yeah.
And they kind of take it and run. So I really love that aspect of social media, that it joins us all together
Yeah.
in that regard.
I had a friend who actually, I grew up with her too, but you know, in the past years we kind of not grew apart, but you know, everybody just goes and lives their life. And so I didn't know some of the things that she was struggling with, and she actually had a point in her life where she tried to commit suicide,
Oh
and
no.
she wanted to share that,
Mm-hmm.
and then but like didn't really know how. And then she came to me one day, and she wrote her story, and I put it on my blog because I was like, you know, I want it to be done correctly. And I feel like this is, I mean, and a lot of people like, oh, I'm not a writer, so, you know, if you want to share my story, you can. And but
Right.
I really feel like you can tell this, you know, like, but she didn't have the platform really.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
she wrote the story, and beautifully wrote the story, her own story. And then
Yeah.
I kind of just gave like a little blurb introduction, and then I was like, in her own words, here it is, you know. So that was one that was a little different, that I did
Okay.
put on the blog. But yeah, just like us being able to, you know, I hadn't seen her in years, but
Mm-hmm.
just being able to connect over, you know, social media and through my blog, for her to be able to put that there. And it was really eye-opening for some of her other friends. Like, this was the first time she was telling everybody,
Oh wow.
hey, I went through that, you know. And I thought that was really, really big.
But look at that, you know, just that story itself, that she felt that she didn't have a platform, but because you do it consistently, you've kind of created a platform for yourself. You've kind of made yourself known. This is the niche I'm in, you know, these are the things I do. And for her to find you, find comfort in you, and then seek out your platform, that's major. I think more people should be open to that. I love doing interviews. I love talking to people. And I figured at some point it kind of occurred to me, well, why don't I do this so that everybody can see? It's not just you and
Yeah.
me. And if you're comfortable with it, you know, we just go live for a little bit and we share our stories. So it is about you. It's also about me, and it continues that way. So if people ever wanted to, you know, to jump on and need a place to publish a blog, obviously you would, you know, scan through and make sure it's in line with what you're doing as well. But it's the platform. We want to have a voice. It's not always about us. We want to serve. We want to help make it easier for people, to help make it a little more comfortable for people. So yeah, that's cool that she would reach out to you and that you have that platform to offer even. So yeah, I love it. So tell me about this mom journey. How has it been for you? I only have one, and at the time I had stepkids that they were grown though.
Yeah.
But you have two little ones, and they're close in age, and they're adorable, but they have their own personalities.
Oh yeah.
How is that?
It's good. So I had Sienna. I got pregnant with her when I was a junior in college, which just threw everything off. Or so I thought. You know, I was actually told that my education was over. Just
Whoa, by the school?
No, no, no.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Other people.
People have their ideas. Yes. Okay.
I had a friend of mine. A friend back then say that she was very disappointed in me, and she knew that my life was already hard enough as it was, so why would I do something like that? Just a lot of negativity came my way. Of course it was rattling, but in no way did I think that I was going to die, or you know, it's just I was like, hey,
but I mean, on top of everything that you're already dealing with, that they would feel the need to say lovely things like that. Whatever, people.
But I didn't know, you know, I was a junior, and so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to come back. Like I had no idea what came with having a kid or anything.
At that point, I'm sure it's like a day at a time, right?
Yeah, it was. And so I remember that semester I was so sick, and just my professors were amazing. I told the very first people that I told they were a married couple that were both my teachers. And I felt it was so strange, and I hate to say this, and I talked to them about it. I felt really guilty telling them because they were struggling to have a child, and they actually one.
I understand what you're coming from.
I said, you guys are probably just looking at me like this girl who's just, you know, like a college student, you know, and you're married and you have your life together and you're trying so hard, and you know what I mean? So I felt ashamed, but they were just loving and really accepting, and they helped me through a lot. And then the next semester when I came, I was having her at the end of the fall semester.
Okay.
So I was supposed to go to Christmas break, come home, and have her. That was the plan, right?
That was the plan. Okay,
all my teachers gave me like take-home exams because I wasn't going to be there for the last week of school.
Right, okay.
So I thought it was all just going to work out. And then she decided to be a week and a half early. So I had her in Virginia, but that was also very perfect because everybody, like my college family, all of them who got to see my belly get big, and they were really
to grow with you.
They got to meet her for like right. And then I didn't know what I was gonna do after that. I thought okay, I wasn't gonna go back for like the inner term that they had. But I was just like, how am I gonna make this work? And so I went home, and then my college roommate from freshman year ended up, we were like, we're gonna do this. She's like, you're coming back, we're gonna make this. So what she did was she wrote a proposal to the dean so that she could live off campus with me. And help me raise my baby. And so we got an apartment in Harrisonburg. And my daughter was the campus baby. I mean, she slept in McKinney on the table. She was in, you know, the dining halls. She was everywhere. She went to, I don't know how many classes. She should have her psych degree by now. You know, all my teachers were very accepting. My friends would go to class with them if I couldn't. It was it worked out really well. She got really used to being passed off because I just really didn't have a choice. But
the fact that people would rally for you,
yeah.
that's big to me.
I had faculty and staff who would babysit her just so I could sleep or if I could get my work done. It was really a really great supportive environment. And then, so I graduated when she was 5 months old. And yeah, I think that really helped me though with her to develop some independence, because then it was just her and I after I moved to Virginia.
Right.
For a long time. But she was like the baby that I needed. I mean, she was an angel. And now I have my son, who is something.
He's a ball of energy.
Oh my goodness. I think I took my daughter for granted because I'm like, oh, where's that peaceful? I love him. I love him to pieces. But he is something. But it's been good. You know, they're 5 years apart, and so that helps a little bit. And Sienna's such a good helper. You know, she loves to take care of him, but they get on each other's nerves.
They got to. They wouldn't be siblings otherwise.
It's interesting, but more than anything, there's just a lot of love there. You know, every morning he wakes up and he sees her and he's like, Sissy, and he runs and hugs her, and there's so much. So yeah,
it's amazing. Well, I am in awe of your story. You've done so much by yourself, even though you're around people, but you're the one doing the work. So hats off to you. I am proud and impressed.
Thank you.
I hope you continue with your blog work. Is there anything new for this year that you're working on?
Yeah.
Tell me.
I just started a grad program for mental health counseling through NYU online.
Very cool.
So, yeah. Quite a big undertaking, but I had this epiphany one day. I was at an event in New York City, and I really just thought, you know, I'm here for my blog and for my brand, and then I'm about to start school, and I'm just thinking, what am I doing? You know, I don't want to just be doing random things, to be able to tie my passion to my career.
Yes.
And so I really started thinking about what I do with She Is Me Too, and how I do that online. But I've also had groups. I've done like mom groups and just like girls' nights and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, I really am seeing a bigger picture of incorporating mental health into that. And I just I'm like, maybe one day I'm going to have like a She Is Me Too clinic. I really want to focus on pregnant women.
I like that vision though. I like that a lot.
I really want to focus on pregnant women and like women in it could either experiencing postpartum or just as a preventative measure after birth, that kind of thing. Because I went to counseling at Bridgewater while I was pregnant with Sienna. As a preventative measure, because depression runs in my family, and I was just like, I don't know. I know that this can be a very traumatic time for women, so I'm just going to go.
And as it was, you were still in school, you were single, you were doing all of it was a major undertaking. I get it. Preventative is so much better than after the fact.
And then but when I had my son, I definitely went through it, and I didn't go to counseling, and I really, really should have. And I plan on going to counseling soon. Just because, especially since I'm going into this field, it's like, it's very important that I put the oxygen mask on myself before I give it out to anybody else.
To experience what there is, so you can see how you can make it better. I get it. I like that.
And so I want to make sure that not that any mental health person or any person who's trying to inspire has it all together, but to just constantly be improving myself, so that I can give it, you know.
Wow, school. That's big. Oh, that's so exciting. I'm very excited for you. And mental health is definitely one of those things that we really need to pay more attention to. Like, there's so many people that are just silent because they don't know any better. So I'm glad that there are more of us that need to be doing this. So, yeah.
Thank you.
So if you could leave us with one thing, maybe, there's probably thousands of things, but one thing that you think was major for you in the last year, what do you think that would be?
There was actually I haven't written in a little while, just because I've had a lot of things going on. But the last book I wrote was called "I'm Jealous."
I saw that.
and it was mostly about like experiencing pain in a relationship, but
Okay.
or not in a relation, well, maybe in a relationship, but after a breakup or anything like that. But the point of it was to accept your pain and to feel it.
Yeah.
And I talked about the song "I'm Jealous" by Labyrinth. You know, he says, "I'm jealous of the way you're happy without me," and I just thought
Yeah.
those words were so vulnerable and so honest, because so many times people, specifically like in breakups, they want to act like, oh, I didn't care about that person, I'm good,
Right.
you know. And it's like, no, you're hurting. Like, this was a big part of your life, and you have to grieve these things. You have to, whatever it is that you're going through, you need to accept that pain, or you're never going to heal. And so in the past year for me, um, everything that I've been through, I really was, because I want to be this strong mom and strong woman.
Right.
I was blocking a lot of things out,
Yeah.
and trying to just act like I'm okay, I'm okay. Um, and so I just, I really needed to overcome that and say, no, like, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And I need to just, I need to cry. I need to have these emotional breakdowns, these mental breakdowns, and get it all out, because it's not okay to bottle it up. It's not, that's not healthy. There's
Right.
no, that's building on faulty ground. And
Yeah.
I can't do that. So um that's the biggest thing that I learned and really want to give to other people. It's like, it's that cliche, it's okay to not be okay thing, but
Yeah.
it's more than that. It's really like, you're going through something, whether it's you know, heartbreak from a relationship, pain from losing a loved one, um you know, maybe you have older kids and your child just said I hate you to you for the first time, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, small, big. Feel it, embrace it, you know, deal with it, and then
Yeah.
work on healing from it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Our emotions mean so much more than we give them credit for, and there's no point in hiding it away or putting it aside for the moment. It will pop back up.
Oh yeah,
So might as well feel it.
absolutely.
Embrace the suck for a little while,
Yep.
and look at what it is that's really going on. A lot of times it's us questioning who we are and what we thought we meant, and that's like some of the hardest work you'll ever do, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah,
It does make a lot of a difference. It matters what you tell yourself.
absolutely. Oh yeah.
Well, my love, I appreciate your time. I'm really glad we got to do this. We should do this
Yes.
more often.
Thank you.
Keep in touch and let me know how your schooling goes. But in the
Okay.
meantime, I wish you all the best. And you guys, please go follow her account on Instagram is She Is Me Too, TOO. Online, Facebook. You're on Facebook as well, correct? With
Yep.
your
And
own page there.
I have Facebook, and then my blog is sheismetoo.org.
Perfect. She Is Me Too. Everywhere you go. Ashley, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I will catch you again soon. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.